Well, the news right now is that the Mourinho deal is very close to happening. But let's see who said it first or who started taking it for granted. And talking about the meetings that have already happened and the contacts that have already taken place between Real Madrid and Mourinho, who's jumping on the bandwagon now? And a second take on what Arbeloa did today in the press conference. I know this puts me at odds with what some of you think, but I'm sorry, I can't go against what I believe. What Arbeloa did today didn't convince me. Even though I understand him, I do understand him. Because we're playing the Clásico tomorrow, I have to close ranks with my team. But there were things he could have left out easily. All right, let's get started. Well, welcome, Madridistas. How are you all doing? Ben Jacobs is saying this right now, and he's not just anyone, that there have already been very positive talks between Jose Mourinho and Real Madrid. That Mourinho is eager, because of the excitement to come back, and that another meeting will be held, apparently a final one. Or we'll see if they need more to finally bring him to Madrid. Now, we'll tell you what Jose Felix Diaz says in the newspaper AS, who a few months ago said this was impossible, and now says yes, now that he's the only major candidate. That's how I've always seen it. I think the first one was Jurgen Klopp. And Klopp has turned Madrid down. We've already talked about this. Besides, it sounds very reasonable to me that Klopp would turn Madrid down because he says, hey, why would I get involved here now when the Austrians, those Red Bull guys and all, are paying me so well? No way. And that Mourinho is dying to get in. But anyway. But of course, another issue is the fact that Madrid has to turn to Mourinho, who is a guy. And look, don't think that I'm against Mourinho coming back. Under normal circumstances in a normal Madrid, I'd say, but what are you doing? What are you doing? For example, last year when Ancelotti left, if they told you Mourinho was coming back, I'd say, but what are we doing? Last year, because I think last year what we needed was a very modern coach with a method who had already achieved something important in a major league. Who could that have been? Well, indeed, that person arrived and the squad and the club in general ended up getting rid of him. Either we're not ready or I don't know what's happening with Madrid. That's my point. The fact that Madrid has to turn to someone like Mourinho now, which might work out well, and I think so. Also, which is maybe what, given how things are inside right now, what the team needs, well, it says a lot. It says something, I think, worrying about our club, honestly, that you have to turn to a coach who isn't outdated. He's coaching one of the big teams in Europe, although a bit less so now, which is Benfica. Honestly, but damn, you know what I mean? I mean, Madrid, instead of going for someone at the forefront, an innovative coach and all that, ends up having to turn to Mourinho. That shows how special this club is. But hey, it was the same when Zidane left and we had to bring back Ancelotti, who was at Everton. If we're talking outdated coaches, Ancelotti was the most outdated then, yet it worked out well. So I'm not saying things will go badly. But it shows that Madrid is not a normal club. It's really not a normal club. So you have to go for Mourinho. And remember, when Capello came twice, it's true that Capello came twice, but only for 1 year each time. And he solved things and won the league those years. And well, he set things up there. As Colin says, with the karmic cycle, we're right in the barbecue stage. And do we need a guy like that? Well, yes, but I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. It annoys me that we always have to deal with this. Either Zidane or Ancelotti, or suddenly you bring Mourinho back 13 years later. It's a very strange thing, but maybe that's what the club needs. Now, I'll talk about Arbeloa because before this thing about Mourinho that this man is saying now, Fabrizio Romano yesterday, look, Fabrizio Romano, Sergio Valentin was among the first to provide many details about this. He was saying, damn, at least mention me. I'm a journalist. I'm not some weirdo writing here on X. And the guy was absolutely right. Sergio Valentin, who is on El Radio and is currently on leave because he became a father, not recently, but the man is still there. And I think, and we've mentioned it here on the channel, that his reports were on the right track. Now that, by the way, look, also, let's mention him first before telling what Diario AS says. Today, this is from a few hours ago already, he says, but anyway, I'll keep telling you more things about Jose Mourinho. Real Madrid, another new thing that hasn't been told yet. Between Tuesday and Wednesday, they plan to finalize the signing of Mourinho by Real Madrid. I'm not saying it will be announced. I'm saying they plan to agree on his departure from Benfica and the agreement with Madrid. Benfica, Juan Luz, well, after that, and after the Clásico, after these two important matches for both clubs, starting this week, in theory, it should be finalized. And look, the good thing about Sergio is that he was one of the first to talk about it, even though now Jose Felix Diaz from Diario AS wants to take the credit. Today he said, Mourinho takes the first step toward his return to Real Madrid. The second step, which seems to be final, has come from the Real Madrid directors, who already consider the Portuguese as the only valid option to rebuild the team. Jose Felix Diaz said this a few months ago. Mourinho has no place at Madrid. The coach who will not sit on the Bernabeu bench or in the second leg due to suspension. This was when we faced Benfica in the round of 16. He has no chance of coaching Real Madrid again, no chance at all, of course. How has he fixed this today? Because he will say, well, there's an archive here, and never has it been more true since we're talking about a newspaper like Diario AS. A month and a half ago, it wasn't part of the plans, but after the offer Jorge Mendes made to the Real Madrid directors, it went from it's impossible for Mourinho to return to acknowledging that the operation is already underway. What I think here regarding Jose Felix Diaz, who is a guy who for many years has managed to get along well with the top management, with the upper echelons of the club and so on, is that he's one of the first to have information. When does the club want to release that information? We were saying the other day that when they were upset about the Mbappe situation, one of the people they used to say, hey, release this information, was Jose Felix, and that's what Madrid sometimes wants. For that information to come out, they use this. They don't need to make it official with a statement. They use these journalists, including Jose Felix, and they let it out. But that's also why, on many occasions, they deceive them and tell them, you say this now, and the other one believes it and goes and says it. And I think that back then, let's see, at some point, Mourinho was close to returning to Real Madrid, according to what they say, on one or two occasions over all these past years. But it's really hard for me to believe that it's so clear now and that a month and a half ago, like they say here, it wasn't. I think that at that moment, it was convenient to say no. Among other things, maybe they still thought Arbeloa's situation would work out because Madrid was still in the middle of the Champions League because there was the second leg against Benfica. And then for another reason, I mean, for that message to come from the Bernabeu, from Real Madrid, wasn't very popular because of what had happened with Mourinho and Vinicius. Remember what Mourinho said, I'm with Prestiani and I reject any racism that might exist and all that. But what Vinicius can't do is go and celebrate the way he did on this channel. And now I agree with Mourinho coming back. Just so you see, I always tell you the same thing. I don't buy into anyone 100%, not even Mourinho. I thought that was regrettable. Let's leave it here and now. I agree with him coming back because I don't know. It doesn't seem right to me. It's like if Rodri from Manchester City came. No. Benfica. And what does it matter? What does it matter? I mean, there are people who only see things in black and white. They don't get it. They don't understand nuance. And they set red lines they don't even understand. Hey, yeah, well, he did that thing that was also criticized from here, Juan Rodri. And honestly, with the problem we have in the midfield, I've already said it. And because of that, I've also brought on people walking away and criticizing me. I don't care. But in this case, this doesn't disqualify him from going to Madrid. Not at all. Now, let's see how Vini takes it and let's see how other people take it too. Well, Vini's fans, just imagine, the Vini lovers are just like the Mbappe lovers. I mean, it's something I'll never understand in my life. But anyway, you're either for Madrid or for Madrid. You can't just be a fan of a football player, right? But anyway, that's the new TikTok-style football fandom we have nowadays. That's why back then it wasn't very popular to say, or for it to come out from Real Madrid, that they might be looking for Mourinho, among other things, because Arbeloa was there. And speaking of Arbeloa, look, everything was said during the live stream. After the stream, I shared my thoughts, but I'll sum it up clearly as follows. I can understand Arbeloa today when he tried to say, well, it's us against you. We're strong here. We stick together and so on. There's a very important match tomorrow. I understand him. Tomorrow's match is important because he doesn't want to embarrass himself and wants to end well at Real Madrid. He also knows he'll no longer be head coach. What he wants is, and I completely understand it, to be at the best club in football history. And currently, even though we're acting a bit like Barcelona right now, Benfica in some areas, but it's the best club in the world. And for him to say, damn, well, I want to stay, or if I leave, I want to come back, of course. And that's why he says what he says. I'm a soldier of the club and all that. I can understand all of that. But the way he has put it, I think he has gone to the extreme. I mean, you bring up Juanito. Are you trying to touch people's emotions there? And besides, given his whole history, it goes back to him stopping to look at the trophies the first time he walked into the Bernabeu. Juan Luz, and I've always said it from here, there's some play acting there that I don't like from the Real Madrid coach. Then there are people, for example, hey, I get along very well with him and I think he defends the club very well. Many times regarding Luz, I agree with him on many things. Like, for example, Paul Tenorio, who I just remembered right now, who says that Arbeloa is a worthy representative of Real Madrid and one of the people who knows the club best. I don't agree. I don't agree with trying to please the masses. The criticism of Real Madrid, appealing to feelings, appealing to emotion, saying that everything is fine. Excuse me, but the other day, two guys got into a fight. But how can everything be fine after what happened this year? That Rudiger slapped the other guy and he says, no. I've also seen someone get hit with a golf club in a locker room. We all know things have happened in locker rooms, but so many and all at once. Does that mean this locker room isn't okay? Well, he says it's fine, that Real Madrid fans should be, hey, come about the locker room they have. Damn, no. Some will say, well, what else is he going to say? Just stay quiet. But no, I mean, don't make us swallow that, man. Everything is a lie. Everything the press says is a lie. Because the most important thing here is that there's a mole. And honestly, if the most worrying thing about Real Madrid is that there's a mole, which everyone has always known. No, excuse me, the worrying thing is what's happening. It's what's happening. But he chose to say that, well, about Valverde. What bad luck. Of course, bad luck, because he slips and falls. So the club fines each of them €500,000 fine for each one. It can't be because it was very serious. It can't be because after what happened, there's an image of Valverde leaving in a wheelchair. Damn, it was a really serious thing. After the incident, there was a meeting there with the captains and key club members. The other one, I don't know if Florentino was there, but I don't think so. I think he hadn't arrived or he wasn't in that meeting. But there, the most likely thing, I'm not going to say what was said because I don't have information about what was said. But the most likely thing there, after the way things unfolded, is that they would say, hey, let's not let this get out. This is what it is. And let's say that he fell and hit himself because he slipped, that the head trauma, the way they've told the story of what happened, I don't believe that it ended with just 2 or 3 pushes. And the other one, that he fell, that he slipped and hit himself and hit his head. Because besides, if what really happened actually comes out, the fire will be uncontrollable. There has been damage control that was put together in that meeting, and they're talking about bad luck and so on. But the reality is the size of the fine, and the size of the fine is due to something. And what is that something? Something very serious that happened there. Not that they just shoved each other 3 times, because then both players say they didn't hit each other. No, that they just shoved each other 3 times and one of them fell. Just bad luck. That cost €500,000 in fines for each of the 2 players. And you might say, yes, because it came from the previous day. Also the same problem? Yeah. But there's something they're not telling us, and it's damage control by the club. But come on, Arbeloa has already stepped in, like, calm down. I'm going to finish smoothing this over to close ranks around the team and the club. And I think he's gone way too far, honestly. And he's taking us Madrid fans for fools. And look, a lot of people are, because the journalists are bad, because this is my club. But what does that come from? Sorry, but it comes from hooliganism, from the attitude of being against everything and everyone. Look, what those people say, and here nothing happens here. But things are happening, and the most serious thing in recent years is happening at Madrid. And if some of us who are critical of what's happening aren't here, well, I'll continue. There will be only one version, just like what happens in Barcelona, but we laugh at them. We laugh at what happens in Barcelona. You have to be critical in life about absolutely everything, not just about football at Real Madrid, about absolutely everything. Because if you don't, you'll just swallow it all without question, that's for sure. I know what I would think if my club had paid the second in command of the referees for 20 years. I know what I would think, what a lot of people would think, and I see that they react to this with a critical spirit. Let's set aside those paid by Real Madrid through Real Madrid TV and the like. I get they want to keep their jobs, but I know what I'd say. If it had been Madrid, if Madrid hadn't paid Negreira, I know what I would say. I would have been furious from day one. I would demand accountability. I would go after the president, after everyone. I mean, and I wouldn't act like a Barcelona fan. But what I see is that a large part of the crowd, of the Real Madrid fans, of the Madridista crowd, a big part of them, I think, and unfortunately, guys, what about using your heads? We always call for a critical spirit here, that they would do like the Barcelona fans. They would justify it and they would say it's not a hoax. No, there's nothing. Come on, show some proof. It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable seeing what I've seen today. A lot of people think that today Arbeloa did a great job by saying no, right? It's like, as he said, wait, is it a secret over here? He really embodies what Real Madrid stands for. Let's see what happens with Real. Don't leave Madrid, not me. It's just that not everything can be black and white. They've done very important things for Real Madrid. Of course, I would sell them. I don't want to sell them, but don't sell them to me as guys who represent very well. What Real Madrid could have done if they'd been fighting yesterday or the day before was come out and say that, I mean, to defend the players. Hey, these things happen in the best families. That's it. I don't know. I've already told them I disagreed with what happened, this and that, but don't try to sell us that. This story is, it's a contact with reality. And of course, he's not stupid. Has Arbeloa realized what happened there? He's not talking to us like someone who really believes it. Arbeloa, he doesn't believe what he's saying. Arbeloa, he's doing it, like I said before, to stay at the club and to defend the club above everything else. And that, well, that he's very proud of them and all that, and that they represent what Real Madrid is very well. And when they ask him about the captaincy, if he would change the seniority rule or not, he goes and says, I'm very happy with the 4 captains. That's not true. You're unhappy with Carvajal and should be even more upset with Valverde after his actions. Valverde doesn't behave like a captain, sorry. I'm fine. And from what I'm reading and what I can easily imagine, because I see one and I see the other, and I see the statement from one and the statement from the other. Tchouaméni is a lot smarter than Valverde. Tchouaméni is a much more mature and responsible guy than Valverde. And from what they're saying there are people from the Real Madrid locker room and teammates who know whose side they're on, in the sense of who behaved worse. Well, something as important as the captaincy, Fede Valverde didn't behave like a captain. Sorry, a captain keeps things under control there. And on the second day, what happened on the second day just can't happen after what happened the day before. But clearly, and in a serious club, Fede Valverde would be stripped of the captaincy. He wouldn't be kicked out of Madrid, but he'd lose the captaincy, and the coach, right, says he's proud of what he represents. And yes, that he's a captain in every sense and a worthy captain. Well, no, damn it, no, because that's not something you do in a club. A shitty one, sorry, what is this? Real Madrid has to put up with a guy like Valverde, and that's another thing, that a guy like Valverde is the way he is, because that guy, honestly, great player, all heart and soul, but what a year he's having, what Xavi Alonso did to him, which we all know and we've all seen. I still haven't made the video about who's to blame. I'll do it later. Not wanting to warm up in Almaty, remember, it's well known that he was one of those who were against Xavi Alonso. The fight thing, being the captain, that's really bad. Damn it, really bad. And on top of that, the people around him. And I'll finish with this. About Mina Bonino, let's see, seriously, show this photo. I don't know if it's from the other day or not. But what the hell is this woman doing posting this photo the next day? Just be quiet, just be quiet. And they'll say, no, she can do whatever she wants. But girl, after what happened, forget about posting the photo of the kid with your husband. You'll post it later, you'll post it later. Why give people something to talk about? Then she acts like the victim. People ask me how I am, but naturally they'll talk if what happened really did. And suddenly Fede Valverde shows up, of course, and says, no, this is from today. This is from today. You take a photo 3 years ago and you can post it today like it's from today. It's not like back then when you had to prove it was that day by showing the day's newspaper. Come on, he's not fooling anyone. But besides, I don't even want him to try to fool me. It's just not normal for Valverde's entourage to be the center of attention, and it's not the first time. And the club needs to understand that this entourage, sorry, of course, his wife, but that entourage is not good. It's not a reason to kick him out of the club, but it's not a reason to give him captaincy responsibilities either. That's what I think. And honestly, talking about this confuses me a lot. I'm sorry. Anyway, I wish you all the best. Hit like if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.